Hey there everyone, welcome back to my channel and to another Satisfactory video. And in today's video, I do have some stuff planned, obviously. And the first thing that I do have planned is I do really desperately need to build a coal power plant, because as good as the biomass burners are at doing their job, it is starting to get more and more difficult to keep them fed. I mean, if I just look around here, you can see that I've pretty much cut down most of the trees in the surrounding area. So I actually did off camera have to go into the northern forest and cut down a bunch of trees, and that still wasn't even enough to feed the biomass burners for a long time. So it is pretty mission critical that I do build up a bit of a coal power plant over in that area over there. And now the reason why I do want to build it up over there is because if I go on the map here, actually, kind of like behind the rocks here, there are 4 coal nodes kind of in this area here. And I want to use 2 of them exclusively for a coal power plant of sorts. And then the other 2 I want to use up for steel production. And actually what is really cool is there's a pure iron node right on top of this kind of like cliff here. Or I think it's over here, or it might be on this cliff over here. Anyway, there is a pure iron node somewhere over here, which is going to make it super easy to make steel. But before I get into steel production, there is one alternate recipe that I do desperately need to make that work. Or I don't need it to make it work, but it's really just going to make my life a lot easier. And that is the, I think it's called cast iron steel recipe. It's where, like, instead of using iron ore, you're using iron ingots. And instead of getting 40 steel ingots per minute, you're getting 60. So I do want that alternate recipe before I make up steel production, because it'll just make my life a lot more easier, especially since I do want to automate a ton of steel beams, steel pipes and stuff. And then I want to also see if I can get encased industrial beams done today. And then I also did off camera unlock most of the Caterium tree. Or not most of it, more like half of it. But I did unlock like quick wire and AI limiters and stuff. So I'm also planning on automating those as well in today's video. And yeah, so it is going to be quite a lot of stuff that I do want to get done in today's video. And I think starting off, like I said, I do want to build a coal power plant. So actually, I'm just going to go ahead and make my way over there. Also, real quick, another thing that I did unlock in the Caterium mam tree or whatever is I did unlock the zip line to like get around places faster, which is actually really convenient, because instead of like walking everywhere, I can just go ahead and do this and get around a lot more quickly. But anyway, so getting there shouldn't be too bad. All right, that now I am over where the coal nodes are. Also, that is the pure iron node I was talking about earlier. Yeah, you can see it's pure, so that's going to make steel production real easy. But anyway, you can see that right down here, there are 2 normal coal nodes right here. And so my plan for these is I want to make these just for the steel production, which I think should be more than enough, especially seeing how in my last Satisfactory series, I only had 1 normal node going and it was doing the job pretty well. So having 2 should be more than enough for the starter base. And then the other 2 over here are going to be used for the coal power plant, which I am going to build above the river or stream or whatever you want to call it. And yeah, so that's kind of how I want to do that. And yeah, so that's kind of how I want to plan that out. And so now I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can build up a bit of a coal power plant now. All right, so just built up a bit of a coal power plant here, and it was actually easier than I thought it was going to be to build up a coal power plant. And so the coal power plant itself has a total of 16 coal generators, which is producing, or it should be producing, a maximum of 1200 megawatts, which should be enough for steel production and the other 2 space elevator parts, along with Caterium and AI limiters, because those are the other 2 things that I also want to get done in today's video. But even if it isn't enough, I can totally just copy paste another one of these power plants like right beside it, so that shouldn't be too big an issue. And actually, the way I went about building it here, as you can see, is a bit different than how I made it in my last series, because in my last series, I also had 8 power plants, or sorry, coal generators in a row like this, but I didn't have them facing each other kind of like this. And the other thing different too is the water distribution. So the way I have it set up is I have 2 of the water extractors going in that way to feed 5 of these coal generators, and then I have another water extractor here feeding another 3 on the end. But the way the pipe network is set up is it is all connected together. I just have these 2 pumps here in the middle of the 3 and 5 generators here, just to make sure that there isn't like any backflowing or anything. And yeah, so that's how I designed the water distribution system for this. And actually, I did get the water distribution idea from another YouTuber called I'm Kibitz, and he had a similar design to this in another one of his Satisfactory videos. So that's where I got the idea for the water distribution system. And also, I have been running this system here for I think 10 minutes now, so long enough for it to have stabilized more or less. So yeah, it's pretty much, like I said, stabilized more or less. There are still a few hiccups here and there, which is to be expected. But yeah, so I think with power pretty much solved, I can go ahead and disconnect the biomass burner setup I have back at the main base. But I'm not going to dismantle it just yet, because if I do need a bit of extra power, or if this system fails, I am going to need a backup plan, so I am going to keep that system intact for now. But anyways, if I just head up top here where the iron node is up here, I can show you my plan for how I want to set up the steel production line here. And so the way I want to set it up is I do kind of want to just grab some foundations and just kind of build out this way and build out a bit of a platform where I can set up a row of foundries and make a bunch of steel per minute that I can then ship off to the main base. And so I think I mentioned this earlier, the alternate recipe I do want for this setup is, I think it's called the cast steel recipe. And essentially what it is instead of taking coal and iron ore to make 40 steel per minute, it's going to take iron ingots and coal to make 60 steel per minute. And so I actually did find a hard drive where I can unlock the alternate recipe from. So I think from here I'm going to go ahead, get the hard drive from the crashed ship over there, unlock steel production, and then set up a steel smelting area right here, and then ship it back to the main base over there. And yeah, so that is basically the plan for right now, and I'm going to update you guys when I am done, or if anything else happens in between then. And yeah, so actually this was a lot easier to make than I thought it was going to be, especially with the alternate recipe that I have. And so to explain what's going on here, I am making a total of 200 steel ingots per minute that is being shipped back all the way to base, where it is making steel beams and steel pipes. I'll show you guys that in a second here. I'm just going to explain the rest of this. And the rest of this is actually pretty simple all in itself. So I'm making exactly 270 steel ingots per minute, which is the maximum a Mark III belt can hold. And the numbers actually work out really nicely, because that is also equal to a total of 180 iron ingots per minute and 180 coal per minute. So that's actually really good on the numbers point. And so if I head back to base, I can show you what I actually did with the steel beams and steel pipes back at base. All right, then now I'm back at base here. You can see that the system I have going on here is pretty simple. I just have the steel ingots coming in through the wall there, which is then being made into 20 steel pipes per minute and 15 steel beams per minute, which those numbers work out fine just for the storage container area. And actually, real quickly, when I was trying to get the alternate recipe for the steel ingots, I actually did run across this very interesting alternate recipe for steel beams here, and it's called molded beams. And so you get 45 steel beams per minute, but it takes 120 steel ingots per minute and 80 80 copper per minute, or sorry, 80 concrete per minute, which is actually quite an interesting recipe in my opinion. But at least for now, I'm just gonna stick to the regular one, simply because I don't have a whole ton of concrete. Or I mean, well, I can make a whole ton of concrete, but I'm kind of lazy and just kind of want to stick with the original recipe. And so I think from here, actually, I want to do a little bit of exploration, because when I was in the middle of building up the steel ingot production here for all the steel stuff, I did do some exploring for some quartz nodes actually, because I do also want to get some silica production, mainly so I can have signs. Because right now I don't have any signs set up, and so I actually am starting to already get kind of confused with how many stuff I'm making per minute. Now again, it isn't too bad because I'm only dealing with a handful of machines, but later in the game it is definitely going to be like a mission critical item. And so I actually did scan for quartz in the area. And actually, if I do it right now and go to the map, now it does pop up with these quartz nodes here, right? But when I actually go to those locations, they're not there, which makes me wonder if they're like in a cave, which isn't that annoying, but I really can't find the entrance to the cave. Or I mean, that's actually not entirely true. I do know there's some sort of cave entrance near my coal power plant and steel production area over here. And so what I'm hoping is that that same cave opening area there leads to the quartz area, and actually that would work out really well as far as belting it over to the main base, because I already have an established belt highway going from over there to the base. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and do some exploring with you guys now in the cave, and actually I might even find some Mercer spheres or even maybe a Somers loop. Now actually I did do some research on what they actually do. And so the Somers loop, I think if I read it right, actually, if I go up to one of the constructors here, it goes into like this little box right here, and it can like double your output without raising the item cost or the power cost, which is pretty cool. And it can also be used in this like generator thing, which will just boost your power grid by like 30% or something weird like that. And then the Mercer spheres, I actually don't really know anything about, but maybe in the cave I can actually go find some. Alright, then now I'm actually at the steel production and like coal area. You can see that like it's literally right here. The cave entrance is right here. And my hope is that it will lead to the quartz area, or where the quartz nodes are, so I can then just belt it out of here and onto the steel ingot highway I have set up over there. I'm also quite excited too, because this is the first cave that I'm exploring in Satisfactory ever. So I'm actually quite excited what I'm gonna find inside. And yeah, heading deeper into the cave here, I can already see some stuff glowing on the ceiling there, different mushrooms growing on the ground, and other kind of like weird blue things hanging from the ceiling too. So overall pretty cool. And I can also hear what sounds like a power slug somewhere around here too. Or no, it's a Somers loop. Okay, so I think Ada is also going to tell me something about the Somers loop.
The Somers loop was named after Marie Somerville, co-founder of Fixit and head of its R&D department. There are many theories about the origin of this shape and why this symbol, mathematically resembling a Mobius strip, has found its way to both human and extraterrestrial culture. Thankfully, you don't need to know any of these theories to be a pioneer. Research it in the MAM to establish locally appropriate classification and application. Fun fact: the planet you are on was found and named during a planet spotting event Marie hosted named Marie's Awesome Scientific Search of the Avant-Garde Exoplanets.
Okay, so that sounded pretty interesting. All I understood about that is that you can research it in the MAM and that it is pretty important. Apart from that, I found both of the quartz nodes I was looking for, and it looks like there's another kind of ore node over there, but it doesn't look like a quartz node. So just making my way over there, it looks like this weird purple color, and it's talking? Did you, like, you guys heard that voice kind of going off in the background too. Anyway, but it is Sam ore, which was in the game in early access, but it didn't do anything. So I'm going to mine up some of that and see what Ada says.
The strange alien matter, colloquially known as SAM, seems to be in its dormant crystalline state, meaning it won't break down your body into its base atomic components on touch.
Well, that's good.
This living matter is extremely versatile and has countless applications. Research it in the MAM to establish locally appropriate classification and application, as well as a secure method of awakening.
Interesting. So apparently it is a dangerous material, and when it is in its crystal state like it is now, it won't kill me. Interesting. Again, so if I go to alien technology, okay, so I can actually research the Somers Loop, the Mercer Sphere, and the SAM ore all in the same tech tree, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to research the Somers Loop first and see what that gets me.
Summers loop analysis completed. Summers loops are somewhere between battery and conduit, harvesting energy from pockets of space with complete disregard for the rules of the space-time continuum, and distributing it into its connected ecosystem. This energy,
Oh.
similarities to the hypothetical force of dark energy,
Wait, what was that?
potentially be one and the same. It can now be tracked by the object scanner.
That was weird. It did that like weird little glitch thing where somebody else kind of did that. Interesting. But so it unlocked, yeah, the power generator or augmentator thing over there, and it also unlocked a production amplifier. So yeah, the things I literally just talked about a minute ago. Okay, and so now if I go to here and unlock SAM analysis, let's see what Ada says about that.
Strange alien matter analysis completed. Dormant crystalline SAM can now be found with the resource scanner.
Okay.
In its dormant state, it is safe to handle without special equipment and can be stored indefinitely. Research for enabling the reanimation of dormant SAM is now available.
Fill the rivers with blood
Oh.
and let the effigies defile our temples.
What?
Some will follow.
That's not concerning at all. Okay, anyways. But yeah, it looks like we have unlocked SAM Reanimation and SAM Fluctuator. Interesting. So we need 20 more SAM ore to unlock SAM Reanimation. But yeah, it looks like they really did a lot of stuff with the story in 1.0 here, which is quite interesting. But anyways, if I go back, I can now unlock SAM Reanimation. Let's see what Ada has to say about this now.
SAM reanimation recipe unlocked. SAM can now be safely awakened, provided it is contained.
Awakened?
Meaning, if not contained in special electromagnetic storage, it tends to start breaking atomic bonds of any matter it has physical contact with, and reconstructing it into easily transportable resources.
Scripture and love.
Oh.
Follow our hallowed temple halls and listen to the echoes of your ripples. Our bones are more beautiful than yours.
What in the heck kind of cult activity? Anyways, okay, so there's a few things going on here as far as the story mode goes. Okay, so that was that like weird cult behavior thing that just did its thing just right there, and then there was the SAM reanimation that apparently can break stuff down? Question mark? Like, I'm pretty confused now on what this alien technology can do. Actually, you know what? Let me go and just quickly build a constructor and see what exactly new recipes I got. So just by placing down a constructor here, I can see that I unlocked reanimated SAM, which is going to take 120 SAM ore per minute to turn it into 30 per minute. Interesting. That seems about it for the constructor. And I think that's pretty much the only recipe I unlocked. Although actually, if I make a crafting bench, I'm going to see if I can manually make reanimated SAM and unlock the other thing in the production chain. So yeah, there you go. So I'm just gonna need to sit here now and gather some SAM ore, craft the reanimated SAM, and unlock the third thing in the research tree. Alright, then now I'm back in alien technology here. I did make 10 reanimated SAM, and so now I can unlock the SAM Fluctuator. Okay, let's see what Ada has to say about this.
Fluctuator recipe unlocked. The fluctuator can mimic unique communication through patterns of electric frequencies to instruct reanimated SAM to perform specific tasks or give specific restrictions, such as matter to energy conversion. It
Interesting.
can also function as matter memory, reading the exact composition and state of a collection of matter in one location, breaking it down, and near instantly reconstructing it in another location, which has incredible potential for smart storage.
Also interesting. Oh, here they are again. Who are they? It's so weird. It like pops out of nowhere. And they spit a bunch of stuff about, I don't know, whatever they're talking about. Anyways, but now I can unlock Dimensional Depot. Actually, That's really helpful because that means I watched a video about dimensional depots, and if I can turn my entire storage room from regular storage containers to dimensional depots, that means I can pretty much access my entire storage room from anywhere in the world, which would be super helpful. I am going to need to unlock the Mercer Sphere though, which I actually do know where one is. It's like right where the Caterium setup is. But before I go back to base, I'm gonna go ahead and unlock some other stuff in the Quartz research tree before I leave, because I mean, I'm here now. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and unlock stuff in the Quartz research tree. Then I'm gonna go research the Mercer Sphere and see if I can actually build dimensional depots and see what's involved in building those. All right, so it has not actually been a whole ton of time since that last cut, and so I actually was doing just some more exploring through the cave system here, and I did find another Mercer Sphere, so I'm gonna go ahead and collect it and see what the game has to say about that. Okay, so that did
The
that.
astrobiologist Dr. D.M. Mercer was the first to recognize the presence and probable nature of these alien artifacts. These chain-melted state spheres are named in his honor.
Interesting.
Each sphere emits a unique signal. Research it in the MAM to establish locally appropriate classification and application.
Okay. That it? Okay, so I think that was it. Alright, so I am going to now run back to the MAM that I have set up in the other cave and see what it unlocks. And also real quickly, I did unlock the Blade Runners. That's why I am running a lot faster than I used to. But anyways, then now I am back here. I can go ahead and go into the MAM and research the Mercer Sphere.
Mercer Sphere analysis completed. Established local planetary signature of massage 2, AB, B, in the local Mercer Sphere signals, allowing them to be tracked by the object scanner.
Interesting.
Mercer spheres can also transmit data between specific.
Witness our scripture. Witness our windows.
Witness our scripture.
Sing Sazal.
Arguing the existence of intelligent alien life. While Fixit has figured out the method, all of the original data is still untranslatable.
Okay, so the Mercer Sphere seems to be kind of useful. I still don't know what that weird message stuff that pops up every now and again when you research stuff. Still don't know what that is. But anyway, so now if I make, what is that, 11 SAM fluctuators or whatever they're called, I can then unlock the dimensional depot. Okay, so interesting stuff going on there. And so, actually, if I go ahead, collect that, I can go ahead and actually make some SAM fluctuators in the crafting bench as well. Or no, I can't. It requires reanimated SAM and steel pipes to make SAM fluctuators. Actually, that's interesting. That means I'm going to need to make a manufacturer to make SAM fluctuators. So, interesting stuff there. Anyway, so that was just a quick little update I wanted to update you guys on. And so, again, originally, I am now going to head back to the base where I'm going to pick up the other Mercer Sphere, try and make 11 SAM fluctuators, and unlock the dimensional depots, and see what that brings me. Alright, and so after about a few minutes of collecting SAM ore and crafting, I did collect the other Mercer Sphere and craft 11 SAM fluctuators. And so now if I go ahead, start research, hopefully this will unlock the dimensional depot, so I can set them up as my storage area instead of regular cargo containers. So let's see what Ada has to say.
Dimensional depot unlocked. SAM can be utilized to deconstruct matter down to its chemical elements in one dimension, and the Mercer Sphere allows it to be transferred and stored in another. Once parts are fed into the dimensional depot, they can be accessed by the Pioneer inventory and build gun system at any time, anywhere.
We see through the window.
Interesting.
Consume more blood. The
See.
glass will not shatter. The metal will not bend. The wood will not splinter. We.
Again, I have no idea what that last part was. And actually, pretty funny actually, I forgot to record it, but when I went to go collect the other Mercer sphere, the same thing happened. I got like that little weird like voice dialogue or whatever. And then Ada came back and said that I'm gonna not be paid during daydreaming hours or whatever. So pretty funny stuff there. But anyways, it did unlock some other stuff. So depot expansion, manual depot uploader, upload upgrade, 30 per minute, 60, 120, 240, depot expansion. Interesting. So it looks like you can upgrade them too. But anyways, if I go to organization, there you go. It takes 1 Mercer sphere, 10 SAM fluctuators, 10 modular frames, and 100 copper wire, which is actually not that bad. The only call it expensive thing on this list is the Mercer sphere. And actually with the dimensional depot, since it doesn't have a storage capacity, or no wait, it does have a storage capacity. What am I saying? Because in the MAM it literally said like it has a certain amount of storage capacity on it or whatever. But anyways, I was gonna say that if there was no storage capacity in it, or it was so big that I didn't really have to worry about it, I could just have all of these belts running into one dimensional depot, and I wouldn't even have to have a huge like storage area like this. But anyways, I think that is going to be a matter for later though, because I do want to get back to building the versatile framework and the automated wiring. And so actually, if I go ahead and just look at both of these materials and what they cost, so the versatile framework or versatile framework or however you want to say it is going to take 2.5 modular frames and 30 steel beams per minute, right? And so the steel beams is pretty easy. I mean, I'm already making 15 per minute over here, so it won't be too hard to make steel beams. The hard thing is going to be the modular frames, which the regular recipe is going to take 3 reinforced iron plates per minute, which to make 5 per minute takes 60 screws per minute and 30 iron plate per minute. Like I said, that's to make 5 per minute. I don't need 5. I need, what did it say, 3? So yeah, I only need 36 screw per minute and 18 iron plate per minute. And so what I was thinking where I was going to build all this stuff was I was thinking about building it like over here, like taking up the rest of this space to build up the versatile framework, because I already do have an iron ingot smelting station like right there. And since I did unlock the Mark III belts, I can actually expand the smelting station to make 270 per minute instead of 120. And I also already have the steel ingots coming through here for the steel beams. And what I was thinking with the automated wiring is I think I was going to actually build up a second floor for the automated wiring, because that is going to require copper, and since my entire copper line is just in this corner of the main factory area, it is going to be quite logistically annoying to drag it over to this side of the factory, assuming I even have enough room after I build the versatile framework to build the automated wiring. But anyways, that is a lot of thinking ahead and stuff. So what I think I'm going to do right now is I'm going to set up the versatile framework production line in this area right here and see how many iron ingots and steel ingots I'm going to need to complete the thing. Or actually, I know it's going to take 120 steel ingots per minute, because in order to make 30 steel beams per minute, I'm going to need 2 constructors, and 2 constructors are going to take a total of 120 steel ingots per minute, which again isn't too big a problem. I am making 270 per minute, and I am only using up 90 per minute here, so I have more than enough extra to build 2 constructors to make 30 steel beams per minute. The tricky thing is going to be the iron ingots, because like I said, I can expand the existing smelting setup I have underneath here to make 270 steel ingots instead of 120 like it is now. But again, I hope that extra amount of iron ingots is going to be enough to make the versatile framework. So yeah, I'm basically gonna, like I said earlier, just lay out the production line, see how much space I have left, because I also do want a small area right in front here for like a small Caterium line to make quick wire, because that's also going to be needed for AI limiters and other stuff in the future. So I am also going to want like a small setup over here for that. But yeah, so I'm just going to go ahead and quickly set up the versatile framework production line now. And just like that, I got the versatile framework production production line all set up here. And so the whole thing is pretty straightforward, like I mentioned earlier. So I'm just making 30 per minute steel beams going straight into the versatile framework, and then all of the other materials are lined up here to make the modular frames. So like I said, pretty simple stuff. And also I did bring over the Caterium and set up 3 constructors there making quick wire. Now the reason why I have 3 there is because one is for storage, which I just put right here because I honestly can't be bothered to put more storage containers here. But also the other 2 here are going to be for the AI limiters because they need, I think it's something like 100 quick wire per minute or something, or I can actually just check right here. Yeah, they take 100 quick wire per minute. So that's what these 2 here are for. And also as far as the smelting situation goes for the versatile framework, is I did have to redo the smelting setups down here. And so I redid the smelting setups for both of them just because, I mean, it had to be done for both of them, but I am using this smelting setup here to feed the versatile framework. But yeah, overall, pretty simple stuff. Just had to add 5 more smelters, so nothing crazy going on over there. But from here, I am going to have to build up the automated wiring, which, like I did mention before, is going to go like right above here on a 2nd level. And so actually, if I actually just real quickly look at the recipe for automated wiring, it's going to need 2.5 stators per minute and 50 cable per minute, which I think the constructor actually does make 60 cable per minute. Oh no, it only makes 30. Well, that can either be overclocked or I can build another constructor, so nothing too bad going on over there. And then to make 2.5 stators, I am going to need 15 per minute steel pipe and 40 per minute wire to make 5, which is pretty good actually. And I think I am going to take that 5 and split it into 2 belts. So I think I'm going to split the 2nd belt and put it into a cargo container. Just simply because I do want all of the base materials, or at least most of the base materials or items, in cargo containers. And since I actually can't remember the last time I needed stators to build something, I don't think I'm going to need a whole lot stored up. So that's why I think I'm going to split the stator assembler into 2 different lines. And then as far as making motors goes, I'm gonna need 10 stator per minute and 10 rotors per minute, which is a lot of both, especially seeing how the default recipe for stators is 5 per minute. So I am gonna need 80 wire and 30 steel pipes per minute. And the default recipe for the rotor is 20 per minute iron rods and 100 per minute screws to only make 4. Now there are alternate recipes that will allow me to make more. So my goal is to go out and find some hard drives and see if I can find those alternate recipes to make that a bit easier on myself. But yeah, like I mentioned earlier, for right now, I'm going to just tackle automated wiring. And then from there, I think I'm going to handle the AI limiters and then the motors, and then of course the encased industrial beams, which are going to be crucial for logistics Mark IV, since the Mark IV conveyor belt does use encased industrial beam. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and just quickly set up an automated production line on a 2nd level above the copper area real quick. Okay, so I did get the automated wiring done, and I also did get all of the necessary materials to unlock phase 2, or sorry, to complete phase 2, as you can see in the top right corner. And I also did a whole bunch of extra work to the base that I totally forgot to record. So I real quickly want to apologize for that, but if I turn around here, I pretty much have completed everything in phase 2. Like, I've pretty much automated everything because I have the automated wiring going on over there. I also have the AI limiters over there, the encased industrial beams right there, and then motors. I also brought over the SAM ore and silica, so in the back over there, they are making quartz crystals and silica, and I am also making reanimated SAM back here as well. And I also did unlock signs here, so I can actually label stuff now, which is really helpful. And yeah, I would say this whole thing took me about 6 hours, and the reason why it took so long is mainly because I was having a lot of trouble with my steel. And so actually, if I real quickly just make my way over to the steel input, I can try and explain why I was having problems with it. Alright, then now I'm at the steel input here. So you can see that I am importing 270 per minute. That is the maximum I can import on a Mark III belt. And so you see, the problem I had was by the time I was done making the automated wiring, which uses stators by the way, I only had 60 per minute extra to make motors and encased industrial beams, which 60 per minute is definitely not enough to make both. So what I ended up having to do was I had to underclock, sorry, wrong machine. Here, I had to underclock the steel beam constructor going into the cargo container down to half. So instead of using 60, it's using 30, giving me an extra 30 steel ingots per minute. So now instead of 60, it's 90, which is more doable. But even still, I had to underclock the motor production from making 5 motors per minute to only 3. So instead of needing 10 stators, I only needed 6. But even still, you might be wondering how I had stators steel, because the steel pipe recipe here is using 30 per minute to make 20. And I still needed about 18 steel pipes per minute to make 6 stators. And so actually, I found this alternate recipe that uses a 1-to-1 ratio for steel ingots to steel pipes, and I underclocked it to 18 per minute because I think it takes 50 steel ingots to make 50 steel pipes or something at 100%. But anyway, all I did was underclock it to make 18. So now instead of using 27 steel ingots per minute, I'm only using 18, which is great. That saves me steel ingots. And the only extra thing it costs is 10.8 concrete, which again isn't a problem because I am making 90 concrete per minute just over there beside my copper setup. So concrete is not an issue. So that's how I dealt with the stators to make the motors. But the real challenge was getting the steel beams to make the encased industrial beams, because I needed 18 steel beams per minute. And now I did show you guys earlier that there is this alternate recipe here, but if I underclock it to only make 18 per minute, it's still gonna cost me 48 steel ingots per minute. So what I did instead is I have one constructor here just making 15 per minute, and then this other one here just making 3. And combined together, that makes exactly 72 steel ingots per minute, which is exactly what I had left over after I made the steel pipe for the stator. And yeah, so that's how I dealt with that problem of not having enough steel ingots. Now what I am definitely going to have to do is when I unlock the Mark IV belts, I am definitely going to have to upgrade my steel production because, well, I have no extra steel to make more steel products or anything. Anyways, but moving on, the last thing I did make was the AI limiters, which was pretty straightforward. It uses copper and quick wire, which I have a lot of, so not too difficult there. And also another thing I want to mention is the reason why the AI limiters, encased industrial beams, and motors are going into a separate storage system from the one on the bottom here is simply because I can't fit any more cargo containers. Now what I mean by that is I can physically put more cargo containers here, but the problem I'm having is when I route the belts over, they're either not going to connect properly because it's too steep of a drop, or it's gonna like start cutting into other belts and start doing a bunch of weird stuff. And so instead of fixing the problem, I just built another cargo storage area on top of here. So that's why there is an entirely separate storage area up here. And also another thing I quickly want to mention is the way I'm getting all of these materials from the bottom of here to the second floor is you can already see I have an entire mess of belts just running on the ceiling here. Or I more like to think of it as an organized mess. But anyways, that's how I'm getting materials from the bottom to the top. And also another thing that I really quickly want to do before I complete phase 2 is I did go out and collect a bunch of Mercer spheres for the dimensional depot. And so I actually did unlock the manual depot uploader and the depot expansion. So now I can manually upload stuff from my inventory to the depot, and I can hold 2 stacks per container instead of 1. And I also have 5 Mercer Mercer spheres left over to build 5 dimensional depots here for 5 materials that I want access to anywhere in the world. And so now I've been giving this quite a thought actually, and I think that the 5 materials that I want to have access to anywhere in the world is going to be concrete and steel plate for foundation building, along with reinforced iron plates. And I was either thinking iron rods or modular frames, but I think I'm going to go with the iron rods for my 4th option. And then my 5th option, I'm going to want steel beams, but I'm also going to change it to encased industrial beams when I unlock Logistics Mark IV, because the other thing that takes up a ton of space in my inventory is the material that I need to build up the belts, like any kind of belts, like Mark II, Mark III, Mark IV, whatever. So that's why I want another dimensional depot for steel beam, at least for right now until I unlock encased industrial beams. And so I actually did craft enough materials to make 5 of these things, so I'm going to go ahead and just place them down and see what happens. So here's one. I just placed it down here. And now the reason why I'm not totally just replacing this storage container with the dimensional depot is because the dimensional depot can only hold 2 stacks, which means if I use up all 2 stacks of, in this case, reinforced iron plates, then I'm gonna have to either come back to the base and fill my inventory with it, or wait until the dimensional depot fills up with reinforced iron plates. And so the reason why I kept the storage container here is sort of a buffer, is so when this fills up, I'll still have an entire cargo container here, so when I use up all of the reinforced iron plates in here, all I have to do is just wait a minute for 2 stacks to transfer from this cargo container into the depot. And so I'm going to go ahead and connect the depot just like that. And so it only has an upload speed of 15 per minute right now, which I'm actually pretty okay with. But yeah, you can already see that I can stockpile up to 200, which is pretty good. And actually, if I just open my inventory, yeah, you can already see I have an entire separate menu now for the dimensional depot and for reinforced iron plates. And so now I'm going to go ahead and do that for the other 4 materials that I just mentioned. And there you go. So that now they are all connected to the storage bins with the items I want uploaded. I can go ahead, just open my menu, and you can already see that I can hold 400 steel beams, 1000 concrete, 400 iron plates, 400 iron rods, 200 reinforced iron plates, which is great. And now again, this is just 5 out of, a ton of materials I have. And so again, in the future, I do plan on finding more Mercer spheres to, make it so the dimensional depots can hold more and can have faster input speed and just have more dimensional depots. But anyways, with that now all out of the way, I think I am now ready to unlock the next phase, which is going to be oil processing. And actually, the one thing I'm quite excited for is to see how the space station up there is going to be upgraded. And it looks like you really can't see it too well. So I think I'm actually going to sit here and wait until you can see the space station pretty clearly so I can see how it's upgraded. And actually, if you go into the space elevator, it'll show you this little graph right here on what exactly the space station is going to be upgrading or going to be adding, which it looks like it's going to be quite a lot of stuff, it looks like. But anyways, I'm now just going to sit here and wait for the sky to clear up. And actually, you know what? While I sit here and wait for the sky to clear up a little bit so I can see the space elevator upgrade oh no, wait, hold on a second. Okay, yeah, you can already see it start to clear up. But anyways, I was about to say, like, when I unlock phase 3 and oil production, I actually do have a bit of a plan for that. And so there are 4 oil nodes over here in this part of the map where I usually set up my plastic and rubber production lines for the starter base, along with a starter oil generator setup. But you see, the main problem I'm having right now is how I'm going to actually transport the plastic and rubber from over here to the starter base. Now, usually in the past, I would just build a huge belt highway going from here to over there, which I might actually end up doing again anyways. But I was contemplating about using trains or maybe even trucks instead. But the reason why I don't want to go for those is because they only have a limited throughput rate, and they're also pretty big and bulky to set up, especially the trains. But anyways, that is a problem for future me. Until then, I am going to worry about the sky clearing up and then unlocking phase 2. Okay, so real quickly, I've just been waiting here for the weather to clear up. I've just been messing around with the dimensional depot, and it looks like I can manually upload things to the cloud. And it doesn't matter if I have a dimensional depot for it or not, which means I can totally have essentially 2 stacks of everything in my central storage area in the cloud, and only 5 of them can be fully automated. That's actually extremely helpful. That's actually pretty cool. Because yeah, if I just take the steel pipes here, I can upload that too. There you go. Now I just have steel pipe. Or Quickwire, for example. I can go ahead and just upload Quickwire. There you go. All 3 things are now hooked up to any dimensional depots, and I can just store them in the cloud anyway. And then I just noticed this little thing at the top here where it says take from inventory before depot, which is pretty cool. And then you can even search for items, and you can pin items too. You know, that's some pretty cool stuff. Okay, finally, after about 4 to 6 business days, it looks like it has finally cleared up a bit. Or is it gonna get clouded over again? Oh, it's gonna get clouded over again. You know, I really just want to unlock phase 2 and get it over with, but I really want to see the animation of the space station being upgraded and stuff. Looks like I'm gonna have to wait another 4 to 6 business days for this thing to clear up now. Alright, so after a long while, it looks like it has finally cleared up a bit. So I'm gonna go ahead, load it. That's also a pretty cool animation. There you go, so that now it's all screwed in.
Welcome to the Project Assembly Pioneer Progress presentation. Congratulations, the Phase 2 project part shipment is now ready for delivery.
Interesting.
On delivery, Phase 2 will be completed and the construction dock will be constructed. After completion of Phase 2, the technologies of Tiers 5 and 6 will become available in the hub. These might feel intimidating after your previous experience, but rest assured that you would not be here if you were entirely incompetent. Highlights are oil production, railway transportation, the jetpack, and many more.
This is a pretty cool presentation they got going on here.
Project assembly is your next main objective. Just remember to focus on producing and delivering the project parts, and Fixit's faith in you will be strengthened.
Okay. Alright. That was a pretty cool presentation, actually. Anyway, so I'm gonna go ahead, hit the send thing, and let's see. It didn't go anywhere. Is it gonna go anywhere? Oh. There we go. Now it's going somewhere. Alright, let's see what happens now. Okay, so it goes up to the space elevator. Ooh. Let's see what happens.
Phase 2 of project assembly completed. You have been performing.
Oh, would you look at that?
Pressure and are closer than ever to saving the day. Perhaps you were the right choice for the job. Time will tell. You will now enter Phase 3 of project assembly. Continue as you are, and there should be no issue. For humanity. For Fixit.
I think that's all it's gonna do. So we go back into the space elevator here. So now we need 2500 versatile framework, 500 modular engines, and 100 adaptive control units. Anyways, so 2 out of the 3 of those I'm already making, so that's pretty good. The modular engine and adaptive control unit might be a bit difficult. I'm hoping they're not going to be difficult. It's honestly whatever at this point. But if we go to tier 5, so the first thing I can unlock is the jetpack, which is pretty cool actually, and then oil processing, and then once I get enough rubber I can unlock logistics Mark IV. Or actually, do I have enough rubber? Oh, voice crack there. Anyway, but I already have 119 rubber already. I just need to find a little bit more rubber for me to unlock the conveyor belt Mark IV. And also the truck. That's pretty interesting. I didn't know you unlocked the truck in Logistics Mark IV. But anyways, I can also do fluid packaging in tier 5 along with petroleum power. So you get the fuel generator along with Caterium ore as a scannable resource and a big fluid buffer, which is pretty pretty cool. And then in tier 6, you start to get into like the manufacturer, train, then you get pipeline Mark II, and then blueprint Mark II. Which reminds me, I actually need to unlock blueprint Mark I. I can totally do that like right now. But you know what? I think that is something that I'm gonna do off camera, because honestly, to make up all the blueprints I want to, it's just gonna take forever to do it on camera. So yeah, I think that's something I'm gonna do off camera. But anyways, I think from here I'm gonna call it a day. Again, simply because I just completed a whole ton of everything in today's video. And hopefully in the next video, I will get plastic and rubber done, as well as unlocking logistics Mark IV. And another quick side quest I want to do is I do kind of want to make the base a little bit more pretty, because as it stands right now, it is essentially just 3 slabs of foundations and it doesn't really look very good. So maybe I'm gonna do a little bit of work to that in the next video, make it look a bit nicer and stuff. But yeah, I think from here I'm gonna end the video here, guys. So thank you for watching today's video. I really do appreciate that. And if you did enjoy my content and do want to see more, make sure you do like and subscribe to the video, as that really does help out my channel. And yeah, thank you for watching today's video. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.